Congratulations. You have made it into the Treehouse on Friday, September 15th, 2023. Friday number 3 episode here in the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley along with Trey Trenholm and Raj Sharma. Happy Friday, gentlemen.
Happy Friday to you.
There are a number of reasons to be happy on this Friday, not the least of which is the debut of the Treehouse Football Podcast yesterday, which if you are not downloading and listening, you need to be, because even if you're not a sports fan, we still have plenty of stupid on the sports side.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is the thing. See, just because we do 2 stupid Treehouse episodes per week doesn't mean we're fresh out of stupid. No.
Yeah.
We cook it up every day. We just don't always throw it out there every single day.
Yeah, it's like Eminem in Detroit has the restaurant has Mom Spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys know that. Like you can go and so you can it's from the song "Lose Yourself," where he's like his vomit on his sweater already Mom Spaghetti. Mm-hmm. So you can go and buy Mom Spaghetti. So if I think we ever cook up anything, it should just be called stupid. I don't know what would be inside of it, but it'd be fantastic.
You mean like a casserole or something?
Sure, like a stupid casserole. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll be like some gravy and some red sauce and probably some Legos. Locked up in Jell-O.
I'd still eat it.
You're not gonna have any teeth left, but it'll be stupid. Stupid casserole. I will point out though that Trey sometime back did purchase a very valuable URL that we will deploy at some point.
What is it?
We make the stupid.com.
Oh, yeah, I like it. That's fantastic. We make the stupid. Yeah, that's good.
So not only are the shows stupid, but that website is. Therefore, we're just waiting to figure out exactly what's stupid to throw on it. We don't know yet, but we've got it. That's the main thing. Sometimes it's better to go ahead and do something versus having a plan in place. We can come up with a plan later. Just go ahead and get the website. But this is Friday, number 3 inside the Treehouse. Again, lots of reasons to be happy, not the least of which it's Friday. Also because the Treehouse Football Podcast has made its debut now. And in there, obviously, we're happy with the start of the Cowboys. And because of the start of the Friday podcast, that means we get birthdays, and birthdays make people happy. I still don't understand how or why so many people love our take on celebrity birthdays, but F it, here we are. So I tell you what, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. You ready, gentlemen?
Yep.
All right, here we go. As I mentioned, today is Friday, September 15th, 2023. Birthdays today, by the way, it is a good birthday day. Lots of well-known birthdays today, which helps.
All right.
We will start with John Bradley. He is 34. A very basic name, but he had a memorable character in Game of Thrones. This is one of the few characters in Game of Thrones I know by name. He played Samwell Tarly on Game of Thrones. You guys remember that character?
I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, and it was I couldn't get through the second. Like I just didn't like it. It was torturous to get through the first season, and everyone says, "Oh, it's better after the first season."
I'm with you. I don't know. I'm not good with the fantasy weird stuff. Like I'm like, really? There's a little person that runs the whole show, and he's everybody's catching an ass whooping from a little person. Like I'm like, I can't.
Not really. No, they actually didn't catch an ass whooping from Peter Dinklage. No.
And then there's dragons, and then there's people. I mean, everybody back then smelled, and nobody's addressing that. Like,
I'm good with the fantasy. Like I like The Witcher. I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of my favorites. The books, the movies, everything. I couldn't just couldn't get into Game of
But
Thrones.
do you guys realize, like, back then, like, nobody, like, everybody's boning everybody, but nobody bathes. Nobody brings that up. Like, hey, you kind of stink, whatever your name is, but I love you.
Well, it's because back then everybody smelled so bad. That was the norm. Therefore, they didn't know what a bad smell was. The reason why is because they didn't know what a good smell was. That was just the smell.
They every however long, every fortnight, they would bathe. They had to know that smelled pretty awesome. Like, and then the rest of the time was like, we don't smell like this when we put water on us.
Yeah, but chances are they were jumping in that bath water after 4 other people and possibly a horse. So it's not like it smelled that much better. They were just wet.
And then winter was always coming, but it never showed up. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I can't do it. So no,
it was a very slow moving series overall, with the exception of the final season. But I enjoyed the show, and so obviously you guys have no idea who the character Samuel Tarly is, but today is his birthday.
But every episode, like, winter is coming, and I'm like, how long is this? Like, when?
It was like 7 seasons. It was like 7 seasons.
Ugh, no thanks.
Well, they didn't say it was coming tomorrow. They just said it's coming, and then it did. It did come. It just
every episode.
Winter had taken an ED pill, so it took a while to get there.
Winter lasted more than 4 hours.
Wanted to make sure you really, really got your money's worth before the culmination of winter coming. So anyway, we've got the birthday of John Bradley. He is 34 today. And I don't even think Samuel Tarly was in the first season of Game of Thrones. So you really would have no idea, Trey. Let's move on to someone that everyone does know. Prince Harry. He is 39 today.
Yay.
He is so after he and Meghan Markle, after they renounced their royal whatevers, is he, because he's supposed to be 5th in line for the throne, but since he renounced his titles, does that go away, or is it just more of like a gesture, like, oh, we renounce our titles, but if the 4 people in front of him died, he'd still become king?
Yes, and they didn't renounce their titles. They renounced. They basically said that they won't be performing their royal duties, their royal function, or whatever that is. That's
interesting, because Spotify told them they were not performing their podcast duties either.
It's funny because if you read about like his Invictus games and everything else, has done things, and evidently like he loved being in the battlefield, and like soldier, and
they had a problem
ever since it seems like ever since he married Meghan Markle, it's just been.
Well, he basically did everything. So he literally loved being. He was a screw up for most of his life. With anybody with that kind of status and whatever, they're going to fall into some dumb stuff. We all know that happens with celebrity kids all the time. This is on a different level, especially because the press in the UK is just horrendous when it comes to celebrities. But he really came into his own when he was in the military, and he loved that. And for the royal family, that's very much just for media to capture some good footage of you doing some stuff. If you looked at his brother, there was some very fantastic footage of him like standing by a table with a map and pointing at stuff. This guy was literally like flying Blackhawks and
he was, as they say, in the shit.
Yes. And when he went back, that was like the whole family basically was like, no, you don't have to do that anymore. And he's like, well, these are my guys. I'm not leaving them out there. And so when he went, that was against their wishes. And then everything he did, when he started peeling back the onion that is the royal family, it was like, oh, I don't like that you guys do this. And I'm going to do what I want to do. And then when that happened, nobody's ever done that. And when he started doing that, he started getting a lot of grief for it. And so, and then he married a lady who was divorced, and that you don't do. And then, then she's black, and that you don't do. And he uncovered the elitist, racist side of the monarchy, which, again, why was anybody surprised that a 97-year-old woman was racist?
Well, why is it, it's like, and we'll tie this back, a little teaser of the football podcast of no one's shocked that Jerry Jones might be a little racist. Why is anyone shocked the royal family, the whitest of white, and pride themselves on the genetics of that?
Yes.
Are racist. Why is
it? I mean,
because they're British?
Well, yeah, because she was a
They're
tiny.
just fancier racist. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, she was also.
It's racism with the pinky extended.
Yeah, but the optics were good on the old lady, right? She had the little corgis that she walked with, and she always had a hat on. She waved to people, and she was very accessible.
She was
so
like the tough old grandma with a crown.
yeah, so that the optics were really good. People didn't realize, like, she signed the paperwork for racism, like she signed the paperwork for apartheid. She signed all the paperwork for to oppress what she believed to be lower class people. So what I found amazing was when it came to that, everybody called her Your Royal Highness or Your Majesty. Nelson Mandela never called her that. He called her Elizabeth. He never spoke. He never said Your Highness or Your Majesty ever. He called her Elizabeth, and he was the only person that was allowed to do that. And I was like, "You go, dude." He's like, "We've had enough."
I'm surprised you didn't call her anything else.
But yeah, so I mean, he kind of, and I kind of respect, like, he wrote the book and everybody kind of gave him grief saying, well, he's just doing it for the money. And I think for him, it was just kind of like, let me let you in on what's going on over here. And nobody wants to hear that because we love watching them get married on TV. Because look at, it's the princess and the prince getting married and all that fairy tale. And you don't want to
Disney stuff. So everyone's like, oh,
and you
it's great.
don't want to believe, like, they're like, oh, what did they do to the Chinese? What did they do to the Indians? What did they do to, you don't want to believe any of that stuff. And so that's where that gets pulled back.
It doesn't help their cause when, the argument of they're doing it for the money, but, and then when you totally trash the family, but then you're mad if they don't give you enough money or support. It really is a double-edged sword of
but the majority of
royal hypocrisy. I think that's the word you're looking for, Trey.
Yeah, but I mean, the majority of like where Harry's money would have come from outside of book deals and stuff that they're doing is from Diana's estate, because they were the only two sons, and so they got her estate. So she was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So when people are like, they're still getting all the money, it's coming from there. It's not like Prince Charles is cutting a check every month or whatever.
They do get, as part of the royals, they do get a salary, and it's like a healthy support one. Yeah,
I think that's when you walk away from you still get your money, but the salary that you get, they don't get. Like, they don't get their, because they walked away from that.
Like Prince William, I want to say, like, they said his salary is like $4.5 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. You would think he'd go and get the hair transplant.
You'd think you can afford it.
Yeah, but also when
you're right there by Turkey, you can just pop
it. But in my head, is it this when he's like, "Well, I'm already me, so no." Like,
was Prince William also in the Beatles?
Hold the machine's got a hold of me finger.
but you're right. I mean, he's got enough money. He could have a Beatles haircut from the 60s if he so wanted. No one would really care. No one would mind. No one cared when Jason Witten all of a sudden sprouted hair when he took over calling games on Monday Night Football. And then when everyone said, you suck at this, and he went back to play football, he was bald again. No one cared.
But Deion Sanders has some magical hair now too.
LeBron James has had not a receding hairline. Well, he had a receding hairline, and then it started seeding. And how LeBron James and Chia Pet couldn't find a way to come together on a deal just blows my mind, because it was right there in front of our eyes.
And now I figured out why everybody likes birthdays. I figured out from what we from this moment.
Because no other show is going to tell you that Prince Harry is 39 and end up with Chia head LeBron James.
When you said it earlier, like, I don't know why people like birthdays, and I'm like, maybe it's because everybody has their favorite celebrity. And then midway through this, I was like, this is why.
This is why. So let's continue then. That's only 2 birthdays. And like I said, this is a big birthday day. He played Eddie Brock in Venom, Mad Max in Fury Road, and Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. That is Tom Hardy. He is 45 today.
Nice. Yeah, that was that guy. And then what was the boxing movie that he did? The MMA movie we did.
Oh, God, that was so good.
Such a phenomenal film.
Is it Warrior?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, where he fights his brother.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
That's a phenomenal movie.
And then Bane was just, unbelievable. Well, good for him, Tom Hardy. Good, sounds like a good dude. I don't know. I don't have any story about him. So,
that was fine. And the movie is Warrior. It's a 2011 American sports action film directed by Gavin O'Connor, stars Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. He's a good actor as well, as two estranged brothers whose entrance into a mixed martial arts tournament makes them come to terms with their lives and each other. Ooh, that's a good slug line. It really is, though. Trey, if you ever see that pop up on Netflix or something, watch that. It's called Warrior.
Really,
it's
I
phenomenal.
like Tom Hardy.
If you like Tom Hardy, you will absolutely love that movie.
Cool.
Also celebrating a birthday today, we've got Josh Charles. He is known to a lot of people more currently as the character he plays, I don't know because I don't watch it, on The Good Wife. But Trey and I will affectionately remember him as the role he played in Dead Poets Society. I also loved him in a little show, and I think, Trey, you like this as well, Sports Night. Back in the day. He was one of the anchors on Sports Night. The other anchor on Sports Night, by the way, Peter Krause, who went on to 6 Feet Under fame, and now is on, is it 911 or whatever it is, as a firefighter in LA.
Yeah, no, that's Sports Night was such a good show. It was such a shame because, like, I don't know why it didn't take him. It did okay, and then Robert Guillaume had a stroke, and he was one of the characters that seemed like it never recovered from that.
No, he never did. But it was so Sports Night was one of Aaron Sorkin's first shows.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
yeah.
it was I think his first TV show. Now keep in mind, Aaron Sorkin wrote the play A Few Good Men, and then later wrote the script for the movie A Few Good Men, which of course led into Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise having one of the legendary court scenes in cinema history. And then the next thing Aaron Sorkin did was write and executive produce, create Sports Night. And I think it was only on for 3 seasons. I loved it. But ABC, the channel it was on, kept effing with it. They would, like, it was what Hollywood refers to as a single camera show. It didn't have originally, I don't think it ever had taped in front of a studio audience.
No.
So it was shot like, say, Modern Family, or shot more like a film versus a sitcom. And ABC insisted on throwing a laugh track in it because they thought the show was too smart and that the idiot audience wouldn't know when to laugh. And that was out of Sorkin's control. The show didn't work. It went away. But then it still worked out in Aaron Sorkin's favor because he followed it up with The West Wing, and that turned out okay.
Yeah, I heard that was all right.
So anyway, Josh Charles is 52 today. From Naughty by Nature, Kay Gee is 53. Lindsay Lohan's mom, Dina Lohan, is 60. Bet she's just a really proud mom. Former football great Miami Dolphins quarterback legend Dan Marino, 61. His name always comes up as the one that who is the greatest quarterback or the greatest NFL player to have never won a Super Bowl, and a lot of people will say Dan Marino.
Well, I mean, 100%, right? Like, that's got to be hard. Like, it's like Tom Cruise. I think I think he's reconciled within himself. Like, I'm not going to win an Oscar because they just don't want him to win one. And I don't know if that's the Scientology side of things or whatever, but if he didn't, I had friends that worked on, because Born on the 4th of July was filmed here in Dallas, and I had friends that worked on that film. And there's a scene in the movie when he's newly paralyzed, when he's in the hospital. And there's a scene where it's this really painstaking scene where he's throwing up and he's miserable and he's crying and all sorts. And that shot was done 4 or 5 times, and he like threw up on command. Like, he could do that. He's a tremendous actor. I don't care what you think about the Scientology side of things or whatever, but he's just really, really good. And Few Good Men, he should have won something for sure.
But instead, I think Jack Nicholson won Best Supporting.
Yes, Best Supporting Actor, yes. And so I think what they'll do is kind of the same thing along the same lines of Dustin Hoffman, where years later he gets one or he gets a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
But that's got to be the same thing.
Was Tom Cruise even nominated for Born on the 4th of July?
I think he might have been. I don't think he won. I know he didn't win it, but I don't know if he was not. I think a Golden Globe.
Okay. Because usually you would think if you're an actor and you portray a disabled veteran based on like whether it's based on a real story or not, chances of you getting nominated or winning something prestigious are high. I mean, just ask Gary Sinise. He was nominated for an Academy Award for playing Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Tom Cruise was nominated for Best Actor in Born on the 4th of July and Jerry Maguire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, both.
And Best Supporting Actor for Magnolia,
which was great.
I forgot about that movie.
But yeah, I mean, both all great movies. But Dan Marino's got to be that. You know what I mean? Like in that profession, like all your buddies that you hang out with have that ring.
They have the ring, but then Dan Marino can turn to them and say, "Yeah, but I played myself in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective."
And Troy Aikman was like, "Cool, I was in Jerry Maguire."
That's what it comes down to. He's got a better IMDb.
In Hollywood, yeah, nobody cares about the ring.
Well, here's the thing: Dan Marino's role in Pet Ventura Dan Marino's role in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective was crucial to the story, unlike Troy Aikman's cameo in Jerry Maguire.
Yes, and he was also in Bad Boys 2. When they're chasing the guys and Dan Marino's going for a test drive. It was very, very classy product placement for Cadillac. And they pulls up in a Cadillac and they commandeer the vehicle, and it's Dan Marino, and he's like, he was on a test drive, and he's like, well, let me know how it rides. He's like, oh yeah, he's gonna ride the shit out of this.
Oh yeah. And the other great thing though is like you said it kind of jokingly about Dan Marino's IMDb being better than other NFL players that have rings, like say Joe Montana. It's like, well, it is. I mean, because Dan Marino co-starred with Courtney Cox, Jim Carrey, Will Smith,
Martin Lawrence,
and
Tone Loc.
And Tone Loc.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Steve Young, you just can't cut
it. Steve Young was in a very fantastic episode of 90210. Where he,
God, you and 90210. Jesus. Other birthdays today from Oliver Stone turns 76 today. He directed greats such as Platoon, Wall Street, Born on the 4th of July. How about that? That was unplanned that we brought that up. The Doors, JFK, Natural Born Killers, Any Given Sunday, Alexander W., and Snowden. And he also wrote a bunch of those himself.
Yeah, and he also likes to do psychedelics, which is fantastic. Because anytime I hear about a 76-year-old dude that likes to trip balls, I'm like, I like this guy. I don't know what it is. And then you see some of the movies and you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, you see Natural Born Killers and you're like, so he was high the whole time? Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody knew it. Famous curmudgeon/actor Tommy Lee Jones is 76 today.
Yeah, he's not a nice
and he's looked 76 for 30 years.
It really is amazing. Like there are just certain people that have looked old forever, and he's one of them. I'll give you a quick example. So we were out the other night, and at the bar the restaurant bar we were at, on TV, My Cousin Vinny was on, and I'm looking. When I first saw that movie, all those people looked old to me. Joe Pesci looked old. The guy that played, I'm brain farting on his name, but the guy that played the prosecutor looked old. What's his name from the Addams Family?
Munsters.
The Munsters. Fred Gwynn.
I'm sorry, from Munsters. Yeah. What's his name, Trey?
Fred Gwynn.
He looked old in that movie. Even Ralph Macchio looked old in that movie when I first saw it as a kid.
Ralph Macchio still to this day doesn't look old.
No, he doesn't. But even then, he looked older than me at the time. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But then I'm watching the movie My Cousin Vinny. I'm like, all these people now look like my age.
Yeah, and then you look at Ralph Macchio now and you go, oh, he looks exactly the same. Like I don't know what that man
very
does.
Similar. I don't know what his moisturizing regimen is. I don't know if he got it from Trey or what. It's on point.
But I think he was
like 30 when.
Yes.
He was close to 30 doing the Karate Kid movies.
He had his the second Karate Kid movie was they almost had to delay production of it because his second or third son was born. Right when they were about to start filming. So when he's playing this, like he's getting on the plane, like I miss my high school dance. She broke up with me, and I'm like, you've been married for 17. It's the same thing from our friend Gabrielle Cartiers, Andrea on 90210. She was only 4 years older than the father on the show. 4 years younger than the father on the show.
Yeah, that was always freaky.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tommy Lee Jones, he is 77 today, and he had one of the great speeches in film history in The Fugitive, where he talks about every outhouse and chicken house, in the area, search it, try to find Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
But there's another line in that movie that I think is far superior, that does not get near the amount of praise it deserves, unless, of course, you've been listening to this show for any number of years via radio or even now podcast, because there's another moment in that film where he delivers a line so impeccably that whenever I use this phrase, which is an everyday phrase for most people, I always think of him and the way he delivers it. That is the scene when they're inside the dam and Tommy Lee Jones, Marshall character, catches up to Richard Kimball, Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford yells at him, "I didn't kill my wife," to which Tommy Lee Jones says, "I don't care." Is there not a better delivery of that line? I mean, that's one of the greatest deliveries of all time.
Yeah, I think the motivation for that delivery was like, the water's really loud. So I'm gonna.
So he just had to scream it. Yeah, but even still, the delivery on it, the way the emotion, he really doesn't care. The look in his eyes, like, I really don't care. That's not my job. I'm just here to arrest you.
Is this? Did this have? Is this the same movie? I get the two confused. I haven't seen it in so long. I know. Is this one with? What's the one with Robert Downey Jr. and him in it?
That's Fugitive 2.
Fugitive 2, is that what it is? Okay. I was wondering which one.
Was it Fugitive 2 or was it the U.S. Marshals?
U.S. Marshals. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's what you're. U.S. That was a good one too. That was I thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was one where they were chasing down Wesley Snipes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
I think at a certain point, even in the movie, I think Tommy Lee Jones's character says in U.S. Marshals, "Are we ever," or someone on his team says, "Are we ever going to try to catch someone that actually did the crime that they were convicted of?"
And in hindsight, hindsight being 2020, and it's Wesley Snipes, they could have just made it the IRS, and the movie would have been so much better.
That's an FO, Raj. That's a funny one.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. 833-COOK-DFW is the phone number to call for your free roof inspection. That's 833-COOK-DFW, or the website cookdfw.com, servicing roofs all over North Texas. Just give them a call, 833-COOK-DFW, or again, cookdfw.com. Double check here. I think we got all the birthdays in. Oh, wait, no, there was actually one other living birthday today with a name that Raj, I'm not sure if you will know the name, but I know Trey does. And that is Baseball Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry. He is 84. I'm sorry, he is 85 today.
I do not. I apologize for my lack of knowledge of geriatric Hall of Fame baseball players. My apologies, Trey. I don't know if this is a role model of yours or why you would know Gaylord.
I think
Perry.
the only way that Gaylord Perry might be a role model for Trey is just in longevity.
Okay. Did he? I don't know. Who did he play for? What?
A number of teams, but at one point, I believe near the end of his career, he was a Texas Ranger.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. He does sound like, now had you said with that same name, Broadway choreographer, it sounds like I would most likely, like, if you were like, and turning 85 today is Broadway choreographer Gaylord Perry. I'm like, oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, I bet he's won a Tony or two,
or at least dated a few.
So happy birthday, Gaylord Perry! I'm sure you're so excited for it. Moving on to news now. There has been a recent arrest that has consumed the American zeitgeist. The convicted killer who escaped from a Pennsylvania prison nearly 2 weeks ago is in custody. Tactical teams used heat-seeking technology to find and surround Danilo Cavalcante, and a police dog ultimately subdued him when he tried to flee. Hell yeah. I love it when they launch the furry missiles. Raj, if you have never gone down the rabbit hole on YouTube or just the internet in general of police canines being deployed, and I mean being deployed, it is up there with some of the most satisfying things, because it's almost as good as seeing the A-10 Warthog or A-10 Thunderbolt doing the machine gun on its nose fire, because it doesn't sound like a machine gun like you are aware of. It sounds like a drunk pigeon.
Just complete side note on it. There was a meme the other day and it really made me laugh because it was like, it showed like an F-22 and it goes, my plane has guns. And then it showed a Warthog and it goes, my gun has a plane.
And that is true. I've done the research on this. It is very, very true.
Yep.
The Air Force went to, I forget who the manufacturer is of the A-10, and they basically said, all right, here's the gun we want. Now build the plane around it. And they did.
Wow.
They built the plane around the gun that comes out the nose, or just underneath the nose of the A-10. And that's what they did. They gave him the A-10, a plane built around a gun.
I will have to look it up. I've seen a couple of videos, and then I think I was watching the first 48, and they were tracking somebody, and they released the dog, and it is it's amazing to me how quickly like the people that they are released, like in this episode of the first 48, when they released it, like the minute the dog left the side of that officer, that dude gave up. Like it hadn't even gotten to him, and he's like already like I give up. I'm like, yeah, and like they waited. I mean, they have to wait for it to secure the target. But the guy gave up. They still didn't call it off just yet. Like it took the guy to the ground, and then they did very quickly. But like he saw the dog start. I'm like the first stride coming at him, and he was like, "Yep, we're done." Like there were officers surrounding this guy with like guns drawn, and he was like, "F you guys," and I didn't do anything, like all this stuff. And then that dog went, and he's like, "Yep, I'm good." Like,
I'm going to show this. Go ahead, Trey.
Oh, it's amazing. I'll even watch. Sometimes they'll show the videos, and it's the dash cam, in a police car. And it's got the dog, and then it's so locked in on its officer, and then the minute you hear that buzz and that door deploys, that dog is just bit. I mean, because they're basically just sitting there, just wanting in on the action. And
I tell you right now, manufacturers and the design team at Ferrari watch these dogs, and they are envious of how quickly they go from 0 to 100. So I'm going to show you real quick. This is actually a quick comparison I just pulled up on YouTube of what looks to be the first jet doing a test fire is either an F-22 or an F-35. I can't quite see it because of the angle, but it shows them firing its machine guns. And then you get to see a couple of action shots from the A-10 Warthog. And this is from this is approved for release and official something, whatever. This is titled, you just type in A-10 and the suggestions will come up. BERT, BRRRT. So here you go. So the A-10 says, "Oh, that's cute." That's the A-10.
Wow.
That's a machine gun.
Wow.
Destroying a tank.
Wow.
because it something ridiculous. I mean, like
it just sounds like
it sounds like a million ducks farting all at the same time.
It just sounds like every
Bring your
National
business
Geographic when the lion has the warthog, like when it's got like the whatever it is, the wildebeest or whatever it is. It's like it's got its like mouth around its neck and it's taking it down. It's like, I'm just, like that's like, and I'm done. Like that's just the yell of death is what that is. That's what that sound is.
The thing
that's
is though,
amazing.
if you're an enemy combatant and you hear that,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what I'm like. That's the same as the dog coming at you. Like that's when you just lay down, you just fall. Like I give up. Like I'm good.
you just play possum and hope it works. Maybe if I pretend I'm dead, they won't kill me. You better pray, man. Anyway, back to the escaped inmate who's now been caught by the FRIIIDAY missile. No police officers were injured during the capture operation. That's according to law enforcement. The inmate's escape on August 31st prompted a massive manhunt involving hundreds of officers and put the rural community of Pecopson Township on edge. Cavalcante was convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend in 2021. He's also wanted in an earlier homicide case in his native Brazil.
That's what prompted him to kill the girlfriend. He told her that he had done it, and she was then going to go to the authorities as a witness, as an informant / witness to that murder, and that's when he killed her in front of God. I can't even imagine the horror, but he killed her in front of her kids, and so he was. And I don't know if you've seen The Escape.
It's duck like walking up the wall. Like that is.
I mean, it's like I did that as a kid in like my family's house. Like I would just spider crawl up the wall or whatever. And he just he's a tiny fella. He's all of 5 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one place, and apparently the sheriffs and the correctional officers at this prison had brought it up. Like that's like that specific part of that prison has been given them a lot of like we have to do something about this because it is a point that you can breach. And he just kind of just crawls up it and then is gone. I'm like that. Everybody in that prison, like for a couple of days, like, man, I wish I was 5 feet tall. The only time.
Yeah,
man,
scratch one up for the little guys.
That's exactly. I mean, and 2 weeks, I think it is the longest anybody has been. Look it up if I'm wrong. I think somebody reported this today. It's the longest anybody's gone that many days consecutively without being caught.
Eric Rudolph, I think, like he was out on the run for months and months and months. But I think that went on multiple states, so maybe.
Okay, that might be what it is.
I feel like this is getting into sports stats where it's like, okay, well, this guy has been has the record for the longest on the lam. It's like, yeah, but that was in one state. So and so from New York has the one for multiple states. That's way more impressive.
Yeah.
Well,
but then you start doing the comparison. Okay, kind of like Jordan versus say Dr. J, or Jordan versus Wilt Chamberlain, who's the greatest of all time. It's hard to compare eras. It's like, what's the greatest prison escape ever? Is it this guy? But is it same to compare prison escapes because the other guy escaped from a totally different prison? It's not a fair comparison.
Who was it? And this wasn't too long ago. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I was kind of on board with this guy. He broke out to. They found him at a diner. Like it wasn't like he was like
hiding.
He went to eat. Like he went and got a burger and fries and like pie, and like that's where they found him. And he's like, the food sucks. Like that's like, and even I think the arresting officer was like, you did all of this because that's how bad the food is. And he's like, yeah, and
the prison food.
Yeah, he's like, the food was so bad. He's like, he broke out, and he's like, that's the first place he went was a diner, and there's his face on TV, and he's like, I just wanted to eat. Like that's all it was. And he didn't resist arrest. He didn't do anything. They came and got him. He's like, all right, I'm full. Like we can go back now. Like
he just wanted one more good meal.
Yeah, I'm like with that. I'm like, yeah, they're like, I don't know what the. I've never been to prison, so I don't know how bad the food is, but that's what everybody complains about. And this guy's like, I've had enough. God damn it, I'm getting a burger.
Speaking of burger,
yeah.
Speaking of burger, I forgot to mention in birthdays that today is National Double Cheeseburger Day.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yeah. So if you feel like celebrating it, it's National Double Cheeseburger Day. Not single cheeseburger day, but double cheeseburger day. And because I was curious, I looked up, well, if today's double cheeseburger day, then that means there has to be just a regular single cheeseburger day. And there is, that's later in September.
Well, happy birthday to the double cheeseburger.
I don't think it's the birthday. It's just whatever
Oh.
the idiots at the national whatever stuff come up with and vote on. Be like, all right, well, today's National Double Cheeseburger Day.
Yeah.
Regular cheeseburger day is this coming Monday, the 18th. So
gotcha.
Celebrate accordingly, double and singles alike.
Gotcha. But yeah, this is, I mean, I guess that's how bad the prison food is. This guy was like, you know what? Armed guards and towers and barbed wire. I'll risk it. I'll see what I can do, but I'm getting
So if you guys were in prison and you decided the food sucks, I need to escape for one meal, what is it you're going to get before being caught and sent back?
I mean, I would have to go with like a butter chicken with naan and right, because I know I'm not getting Indian food in prison.
That's
And
true.
I don't think they will allow the spices that make it, because that could take over the prison.
Well, not only that, they just rub that on the bars and it melts it within a few hours.
No, that's like you can just cook it and everybody's eyes will start watering. You can escape. You can escape weekly if you want to.
So actually, maybe there is Indian food in prison. It's just at the disposal of the riot response team to quell the riot.
Yeah, that's why they have riots, and so the pepper sprays, or the Indian inmates can just get some of that pepper spray and put it on their food.
Yeah, it's not mace or anything like that. It's just masala.
It does work. Yeah, that's. I mean, I would go for Indian food. Like that's what.
Trey,
'cause
what
I guess
about you?
yeah.
It would have to be Mexican food with someplace that had chips and salsa, and then get a plate of enchiladas or something like that. Like just a.
You don't think they would do like a chips and like? Don't they have like a thing where you can like a place where you can go buy food from the?
Well, they have a commissary, but I don't know if they have chips and salsa and queso and stuff. Like I don't know if you're going to get the Bob Armstrong dip, inside prison. You might get a Bob,
or a very strong arm,
and you might get dipped, but you're not going to get all three at once on the end of a chip.
You're going to be somebody's salsa.
It's so romantic sometimes in prison, where one inmate says to the other, "You're the salsa to my little chip."
But can't people bring you? I don't know how it works. Can people bring you things like food?
I think they can, and that's where the gag and cartoon started, where you bring an inmate a cake, and inside of it is a file.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I was like, I didn't know if like they could bring you food, and so maybe you can like. No, but I won't. Nobody's bringing me like chicken biryani. Like nobody's bringing that in.
They wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, that'd be too dangerous.
Well, and then on top of that, though, I mean, the ironic thing is I know a few people in prison, but I don't feel like visiting them. And if I'm going to bring them anything to eat, it ain't going to be food.
Yeah, I do remember when I got arrested dropping Dan off at home. I was detained. As they later said, I wasn't arrested. I was detained.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you go to Lou Sterrett?
I did.
That feels more than being detained.
I went to the Lou Sterrett. I asked for a breathalyzer multiple times, and they said no, that they didn't have one handy, which I thought was hilarious. But there were people discussing the word commissary. That's what reminded me that there were people that were amongst themselves. I was just listening to other people while I was waiting to get sprung. We're discussing who has the best commissary, and apparently for anybody listening that is on their way to jail, you want to get arrested in Fort Worth, because they have the good ice cream and the 20-ounce drinks in the commissary there, and whatever the main
so are you trying to tell me the ice cream machine works at the Fort Worth jail but not at McDonald's?
Yes.
You're in the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
You're listening to the Treehouse. Visit us online at treehouseonair.com.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Brooks Plumbing. Their phone number, 214-368-3838. That's 214-368-3838. For any and all of your plumbing wants and needs, we recommend Brooks Plumbing here in the Treehouse. BrooksPlumbingTexas.com. So, Trey, you are single. Raj, you are single?
Complicated.
So Raj is in It's Complicated. Well, if you want to uncomplicate things, there is a woman in New York who made headlines recently for her display in looking for a husband.
I think this is going to be for Trey. I can already see him light up. He's like, is this bitch crazy? She has to be to go public with this.
Yeah, I'm so glad that our cameras are from the chest up. I've known Trey for many years, but there's some things I just don't want to see. Other than you being happy. So in that case, Trey, pay attention. A woman has made waves on social media after she posted a video of herself walking around the streets of New York City with a sign that said, looking for a husband. Her name is Carolina Geitz, or Geitz, I don't know. She's a 29-year-old living in New York City who recently went through the streets holding the self-made cardboard sign signifying her wishes, looking for a husband. She said during an interview that was having a discussion with friends that dating apps were not working because it takes a long time to chat. As a joke, I said that I'll go outside with a sign.
Yeah.
The next day, she did just that. She took a cardboard box she received in the mail, ripped off a piece of it, wrote the words, looking for a husband, and took to the streets. The TikTok video of her moment now has over 10 million views, 1.2 million likes since it was posted on September 3rd. The influencer and model said it was funny to her to see the response from people passing by, and she said she was actually shocked by how many people supported the action.
Okay. Interesting.
She said people are sending her their dating profiles for review, although she said she's still looking for the best.
Is Trey on his phone?
Is he looking?
I was trying to figure out what this woman looks like.
I will send you a link, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you should send your profile in. Somebody needs to send a profiler to this lady, but because that's just crazy.
If she didn't find one on the streets of New York, I'm going to guess she's fairly hideous.
Okay.
It's hard to tell. So I've seen two photos in the news story that I sent you, Trey. And the sign, or in one photo where she's holding the sign looking for a husband, and of course, like people do these days, it contains her social media handle. She's wearing a white men's dress shirt with only one button buttoned, with her arms up, therefore it's exposing her midriff, short cut-off denim shorts, and what looks like cowboy go-go boots.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I like the. I mean, I don't know. Can we pull up a picture? I don't know. I like the outfit. Looks sounds appealing.
That's one of them, but I guess there was another one also, another photo with the same sign. So I don't know if she did a wardrobe change and went to another location.
Or is this like it started getting popular, so a stylist hopped in and styled her for?
She's hot and crazy. Oh, you can just tell. Yeah, she's right up my alley. I
sent you the link, Raj.
Okay.
I image searched her. Yeah, no, she's hot enough, and she's definitely crazy.
What, hot enough?
Well, the crazy hot matrix. I might go a little heavy on the crazy.
All right.
Other times you might go a little heavy on the hot, and a little less crazy.
Yeah, no, actually, no. I've never figured that one out.
So in other words, your crazy hot matrix always leans to the crazy.
Yeah, it's got a permanent list to one side.
You're just happy to know that she's moving the crazy needle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the link, but I will look her up. Can you hold up her picture there, Trey? Can we see?
There you go. Move in front of your camera. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's perfect for you, buddy. Yeah, yeah. She has the sunglasses on to hide the crazy eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Is she-
Yeah,
was that-
but Trey can see behind those.
I can see through that disguise. I can see into her soul.
if we come back on Monday and Trey's like, "Hey man, got married,"
That we won't even need the full explanation because we'll already know.
If you check in on Facebook to New York City, I'm like, he found her. They say romance is dead.
I can't wait to see that movie in Hollywood. It's going to be the very first ever romantic horror movie.
Dysfunctional in Dallas.
Love to death.
Thank you for hanging out with us on a Friday here in the Treehouse. Be sure to follow all things Treehouse at treehouseonair.com. Like, subscribe, rate, share, tell a friend. The Treehouse is open. And it's also open for business. Treehouseonair at gmail.com for advertising and sponsorship opportunities. For social media, to keep up to date with us and all things Treehouse, at Treehouse On Air. For me, it's at the Dan O'Malley. For Trey, at Trey Trinholm1. And for Raj, at Comedian Raj. We will see you next time in the Treehouse.
See ya.
Hey.